Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Please consider subscribing and check out our Patreon for more. Enjoy the video. Where do I begin? I think the best place to start is at the beginning, of course. That is the beginning of me. Some of this I remember, but other parts I don't remember and have learned from other people who were there. Even after all these years, I'm still not sure about some of the facts. I was born in a small town in England called Chesterton St. Mary, which is quiet and small. My parents were Sheila and Andrew Peters, and I was named after my grandfather, David. Dad was a lawyer, and Mom was a teacher at the elementary school in the next town over. Then I came along, and my mother stayed home to take care of me. From what I can remember, my early years were pretty happy. I started moving, walking, and talking around the same time most kids do. As I grew up, so did my dad's business. I guess I didn't see him as much as I would have liked. Since I was an only child and my father wasn't there all the time, I spent most of my time with my mother. When I think about it now, I think she was lonely and missed my dad just as much as I did. We did everything together, though. As I got older, I helped her with chores, went shopping with her, helped her in the yard, and generally had a good time. When I was about 4, my parents decided that they didn't like the thought of public education. Since there were no good private schools nearby, they decided that I would be educated at home for at least the first few years of elementary school. I think I wanted to be like my mother when I was a teen. I looked through the laundry basket and found a dress. I put it on my head because I wanted to look like my mom. I will never forget how nice the dress felt as it went over my shoulders. Of course, it was like a tent on me, and as I stumbled out of the bathroom and went to find my mother, I almost fell over the long, flowing garment. "Mommy, Mama, look at me! I'm just like you now!" My mother ran up the stairs, took one look at me, and started laughing out loud. "Oh, honey, you do look funny in that," she said. "Why, Mama?" "Well, for one thing, it's way too big for you, and for another, boys don't wear dresses." "Why not?" "Because boys are boys and girls are girls. Boys wear pants and girls wear dresses. Things are like this. Girls try to look pretty and boys try to look handsome." "I don't get it." "I know, honey. It's hard to explain, but have you ever seen a boy in a dress?" "No, I don't think so." "Well, as you get older, girls will start to see you differently. Now, take off that dress before you fall over again." I'll never forget that day because of how the dress felt and what my mother told me about how different it was to be a boy instead of a girl. I have to say that when I was a boy, I thought it was unfair that I couldn't wear the same clothes as my mother. I have to admit, though, that I sometimes went through my mother's laundry basket to put on skirts, ties, and other things. Of course, I did this behind a locked door. When my mom was going through her clothes one day, she put some of them in a plastic bag to throw away. So when my mother was out of the way, I dug around in the bag and found a blue, smooth dress and a short pink nylon nightie with matching pants. I put my stash on top of my closet and wore girly clothes whenever I could. The dress was way too big for me. The nightgown and fluffy nylons that came with the dress were my favorite parts. They were smooth and soft, and I felt like a real girl when I wore them. I used to wear them under my pajamas, and when I knew my parents were asleep, they often went to bed early because my dad had to get up very early to go to work. I would put everything on. I got lucky and never got caught, but I came close a couple of times when I fell asleep, and my mom came to wake me up in the morning. She didn't notice my strange clothes because I realized that the clothes weren't the only thing that made me feel like a girl instead of a boy. I couldn't put my finger on what was wrong, but I just didn't feel right. I wasn't sick or anything, I just didn't know. I didn't like games that were rough and tumble. I would much rather play pretend games with heroes and heroines than games where you race or shoot people. As I've said before, I loved helping my mom around the house, and making cookies with her was a lot of fun. I saw my dad less and less, and Sarah, the girl next door, was the only friend I had. Sarah and I used to play on the weekends when she wasn't in school. We didn't live near many other kids our age, so we kind of became friends on our own. No one else was around to play with. I'm sure that if there had been other girls around, I wouldn't have had a chance. But there weren't, so after a short while, we got along, and within a few weeks, we couldn't live without each other. We would play sometimes at her house and sometimes at mine. We played games like hide and seek and games we made up on the spot. We once made believe that I was the one to save her from a building that was on fire. I was the brave fireman who saved her and all of her stuffed animals and dolls from the fire. My mom and Sarah's mom were talking about everything and anything downstairs, which is one of their favorite things to do. I looked at Sarah and saw that she was wearing a pretty yellow sundress that stopped just above her knees.
That dress looks good on you, Sarah.
You look good in your shorts and t-shirt, too, Sarah said with a smile. I looked at myself and said the first thing that came to mind without thinking. I hate to wear boys' clothes. What do you mean? You look pretty good for a boy. I felt my face turn red and said, "Oh, never mind, let's play something else." But Sarah wouldn't let go like a dog. "Tell me what you mean." "I can't because you'll laugh at me and then go tell." "I won't, promise. Look, we're best friends, right?" "Yes," you said. "Then best friends don't keep secrets, do they?" "No, I don't think so." Well, when I looked up at her, I saw that her smile was warm. I had to tell someone that she was my best friend. "Promise that you won't laugh?" We liked that promise the most. We meant it when we said that. "Okay, I know I'm a boy, but inside I feel like a girl. Does that make sense?" She was making a lot of faces as she tried to understand what I was saying. I pointed to my head and said, "I know I have my thingy and you don't, but I still feel like a girl inside here. It's hard for me to explain." I kept going, pausing as I spoke. "I can feel it. When I look in the mirror, I see a boy, but inside, there's a girl trying to get out, but she can't because I'm a stupid boy." I could feel my eyes filling with tears. I was too emotional to say anything else. Sarah came up to me and cuddled me. "Don't worry, David. You must be in a lot of pain if you're crying like this." "I know. I've got it," I snorted. "What? Why don't you try on some of my clothes?" she said in a whisper. I looked her in the eye. "How could I?" "No, we'll get caught and then we don't know what will happen. No, we won't be found out. I'll lock the door from the inside, and if anyone comes in, we can say we're playing a dungeon or jail game or something. So you'll have time to change back before we open the door. Stay there for a minute and wipe some of the tears off your face. Good girls don't cry." She quickly hugged me and ran downstairs. I took a paper and used it to wipe my eyes and blow my nose. I was already getting better. Sarah was running back up the steps and I could hear her. "It's okay. I told them what game we're playing and they said you can stay for an hour, so we have a lot of time." Sarah shut the door and then threw open her closet. "Well, let's see what you can wear. Size-wise, we are about the same. Let's try this. If you wear this, we could be twins." It was a sundress that looked almost exactly like the one Sarah was wearing, except it was pink. I just nodded because I didn't want to say anything. It was like a dream come true. Sarah gave me something pink and fluffy and said, "Put these on, they match the dress." I put them on quickly and was amazed at how smooth they were. Then I put the dress on by putting it over my head. It wasn't like the dress my mom wore. This one fit me just right. Then I put on the white ankle socks with the lace trim, and Sarah gave me some shiny black shoes to wear. "David, let me brush your hair before you look in the mirror. It's good that it's long." I couldn't wait to look at myself. She brushed and brushed my hair until it felt like it had been through a mangle. At last, she was happy. "Close your eyes and don't peek." I was surprised. Even now, it's hard for me to explain how I felt at that moment, which changed my life. "All right, now open your eyes." I didn't think it was true. It was me. But I hadn't seen myself like that before. I could tell that the girl in the mirror with big eyes and a silly grin was my future sister. I never had a sister, but if you can believe it, it was me. It looked like the dress was made just for me. Even though my hair wasn't very long, it was long enough that I could style it in a girly way. The socks and shoes made me feel like a real girl for the first time in my life. At that moment, I knew that one day, no matter how long it took, I would grow up to be the girl I already was. Wow, David, you look fantastic. I'm shocked by how much you look like a woman. I see what you mean now. When you're dressed like that, I can't call you David. Do you have a favorite name? I like the name Katie. Oh, I like that name. You will now be called Katie when you dress like a girl. What a shame you were raised as a boy when you are really a girl. I mumbled to myself, one day I will be a girl inside and out. What? Sarah asked.
Nothing. Let's play new house.
We made up the game with Sarah's dollhouse. We took all the doll furniture out of the rooms and put it back as if we had just moved in. The dress made me feel great. I loved how it moved when I walked. Everything felt soft and silky against my skin, and I loved how my hair brushed against my shoulders whenever I moved my head. I saw 2 girls playing when I looked at my mirror while we were playing make-believe. There was no sign of a boy at all. The best. The time went by quickly, and before I knew it, I had to change back into a boy's clothes. I didn't want to take off the dress, but I had to, or I'd get caught and be in trouble. I knew my mom wouldn't like it if I dressed up as a girl, and I was sure Sarah would get in trouble too. So I went home and sat in my room feeling worse because I couldn't look and act like a girl for more than an hour. I should have been happy that I could feel and look like a girl for a little while, but it only made me realize that I wasn't what I should have been. A full-time girl. Over the next few years, I wore more of Sarah's clothes and pretended to be a girl for short periods of time. But this stopped in the end. Sarah and I were still friends, but we weren't as close. She had school friends, but I had never been to school. Don't think that I was always a sad and unhappy boy because of what I say. I did not. I was pretty happy. She loved me and taught me how to be the best person I could be. My role model was my father. He was big and strong, and he absolutely adored him. I was reading. This helped me leave my body and travel through the author's thoughts to faraway places and adventures I could only imagine. Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, The Chronicles of Narnia, and other books that I read over and over again helped me and became my friends. I tried to push the feeling that I was in the wrong body to the back of my thoughts. It didn't hurt as much if I didn't think about it. I later went to actual school. I really don't want to go to school and hang out with other kids, I have to say. I was shy, which wasn't too shocking given how I was raised. Some kids had already been to school. They knew what it was like to learn with other kids in a classroom. One Sunday after church, my mom and dad sat me down and asked me which school I wanted to go to. But there was another surprise before that. My father looked at me and said, "David, we're moving closer to London." "But Dad, it's nice here." "I know, son, but I have to be closer to my job. I'm tired of being on the road for hours, getting up early, and not getting home until late. This will be a lot better for all of us because I don't get to see you and your mother enough. Also, you have to go to school. And since it's the start of the school year, now is the best time to move." "Yes, David, your father is right. This is the best time to make a change. This is the only way we can get to know each other better." "Where are we going to live?" "It's in a village called Heversham. It's about 15 miles from your dad's job in Surrey, and it's a beautiful place. Have you found a house yet?" "We found a nice old house on the edge of the town. It has a big yard that ends in a stream. You will love it." "What about school?" "We have information about a few schools in the area, and we'll look at them more closely when we get there. Mom finally said, 'We're moving in a few weeks, so you'll need to put some of your things in boxes and get rid of the ones you don't want.'" After saying that, I went up to my bedroom. I wasn't too happy about moving. Since I could remember, this had been my home, and it would be hard to leave. I would miss Sarah, but we weren't that close anymore. I tried to be optimistic and think about how I might meet new people and see new things. I didn't like the idea of going to a new school. I thought that the people might not like me. I was a girl in a boy's body, after all, and I might get caught. I was busy for the next 2 weeks because I helped my mom pack while my dad set up the new house. My secret stash of clothes had grown a little bit over the years, so I put them in a big box and covered them with books and toys. I was sure I could find a place in my new room to hide the clothes. Too soon, the day of the move came. I had said goodbye to Sarah with tears in my eyes the night before. I said I'd stay in touch, and she said she'd do the same. She gave me a sports bag and said, This is my gift to you. Don't open it until you get to your new house. And by all means, don't open it in front of your parents. We drove for about an hour to get to the new house. Like Mom said, it was a big house with a big yard. At the end, there was a nice stream that looked more like a river than a stream. It was very quiet there. I could see myself lying by the stream and reading or playing in the water. I might even get a boat and play swallows and Amazons. It went well. My new room was about twice as big as my old one. It had a lot of cabinets where I could hide my clothes and toys. It was a very big house. It had 3 floors and a big basement as well. Dad said that some of it was from the 1600s, and that's why some of the ceilings were so low. People were smaller back then. I looked through all the rooms and the basement for hours. It was very dusty, and my mom kept telling me not to get my nice clothes dirty, but she said it with a smile, so I guess it was all right. After tea, I went to my room and saw that Sarah had given me a sports bag. It was in a corner by the bed. In all the excitement of moving, I had forgotten about it. I carefully closed the door and thought, good, I saw a bolt on the inside. I moved the bolt to the other side and ran to the bag. I quickly set it on the bed and opened it. A cute little doll with a pretty face and a pink dress was on top. It was great. Let's see what else is here. On top was a pink nightgown made of silk that cut my hand as I looked at it. It was beautiful. I put it down and went to look at other things. There was a second nightgown. This one was light blue. It was longer than the other, but it was made of the same satiny material. One dress was pink, and the other one was yellow. They had thin sleeves and were summer dresses. I couldn't wait to try them on, but I was also excited to see what else was in the case. Some pretty socks with frills and some thin nylons. I found some tissue paper under this, and when I pulled it out, I saw that there was another dress underneath. As I quickly took it out of the case, I couldn't believe my good luck. It was a dress for a party. It was made of a very light lilac satin and had 3/4 sleeves. It also came with its own skirt. It went great. I could just see myself there. I would be like a princess from a fairy tale. I was so lucky to have Sarah as a friend. A note in an envelope was at the bottom of the case. I was excited to open it. Dear Katie, I hope you like my little gift. Some of the stuff was mine, and I bought some of it for you at a junk sale. It's a good thing that people throw away clothes that don't look like they've ever been worn. I bought them with you in mind, especially that party dress. I thought it was a bit small, but you'll look great in it. I hope that we can stay in touch. I know I haven't been there for you much lately, but you know how it is with school and everything. I haven't had much time for myself, let alone my boy girlfriends. Also, I hope you enjoy your new school and make a lot of friends there. Also, I hope all your dreams come true when you grow up and that you become a real girl inside and out. Keep me in mind, Sarah, with all my love, hugs, and kisses. I cried as I hugged my doll, both because the gifts were so nice and because I missed Sarah. I put the case under the bed, but I wouldn't put my doll in a dark case, so I put her on the pillow. If Mom said something, I'd just tell her the truth. It was a gift from Sarah, and I would think of her whenever I used it. That night, I went to bed in my silky nightgown and quietly hugged the doll that Sarah had given me. I was a little more excited about my future. I had some nice clothes to wear, in secret, of course, and a doll I named Becky. I moved into a new house and started over. If I go to school, I might make new friends, and if I do, I might even find a girlfriend who I can tell about my big secret, which is that I want to be a girl outside of my house, not just when the doors are locked and the lights are out. When I could, I tried on all my new clothes over the next few days. All of the clothes fit well, and every time I looked in the mirror, I was amazed at how Katie looked. I loved how my dresses felt against my legs and how they moved. The pants were so much more comfy, soft, and silky than the ones I had for my rough boy. The party dress, too. Oh, when I put it on, I was a princess. The skirt made the dress stand out, and it was so pretty that I wanted to wear it to a fancy party where I would be the belle of the ball, just like Cinderella. Thanks for watching. Check out Patreon if you want to have early access to the other parts. If not, it will be online in a couple of days.